If you just joined us, this is The Press. We're reaching you live from KAFTAN's television studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. And now our phone lines are open. You can call in to make your contributions or ask your questions. As our guest on the show this morning is Obadiah Mbila, CEO, Lovewalk Media. It's great to have you on the show today again.
Thank you again for having me.
You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
All right.
I love your...
I'm back to my roots, you know.
Back to roots.
Definitely.
Now let's start from roots.
Yeah.
Guardian newspaper says 105 Mondays of sit at home. Southeast losses 7.6 trillion naira. Productivity, investment to agitation in 2 years. When this started, a lot of people just said it will just fade away with time. But now we are 2 years still counting. Some of this Southeastern governors have come together to say that regardless, they're going to stop this Monday sit at home, but it still happens. Last Monday, we saw the governor of Enugu State, where he was monitoring to ensure that people come out, and said that if they don't come out, their shops will be taken away, to be locked and all of that. But then up until this minute, we still have this happening. 706 trillion naira. That's a whooping amount of money been lost to this, and we'd like you to bundle this with, also putting into consideration the Simon Ekpa in Finland's where he comes in all of this.
Yeah, my dear, when we see what is happening in Southeast, we really feel so sad, because all these things are avoidable, man-made
situations,
issues that should have been addressed by a responsible government. The IPOB thing started as an agitation of secession. But I used to say, when you dialogue with people who are calling for secession and listen, sound them out, you discover that their grievances is the reason for the quest for secession. They really don't mean secession, as it were. But they're crying out because they are feeling unwanted in their own place. So, to that extent, a responsible government would first of all look at the whole gamut of problem and identify them, apportion responsible, intelligent men to decipher what is the content of this agitation. Is it about secession? And I am an Igbo from the Southeast. I can tell you with all amount of conviction that the reason for the agitation is not for secession, but for inclusion.
Okay, if you say the reason for the agitation,
I hope I will not
for secession, but
yes,
for inclusion.
Yes.
Are you saying that the Southeast has not been included enough in the scheme of things? Because
thank you very much for that question, Francis.
Let's look at from 1999
yes,
till this very date.
Yes.
The Southeast has had 5 Senate presidents.
Is that the meaning of inclusion?
No, I'm coming. The Southeast has had 5 Senate presidents. And if we are talking about, because if I've been privileged to speak to quite a number of Southeasterners, and inclusion in their terms is usually the Southwest has been president, the North has been president. I'm coming. The North has been president, but it has never been. It has never gotten to the Southeast. But if we look at the Southwest and the North, there has always been this. How there has always been an agreement. There has always been a point of compromise. There has always been dialogue between these two. Are you saying that the presidency, the leadership of the country, should be served to the Southeast on a platter?
Well, I thought this question is being modeled up now. The first was, What is the definition of inclusion?
Definitely.
Does inclusion mean getting the slot of the presidency on a platter of gold, as you have said? Or does inclusion mean something deeper than that? A moment ago, I was explaining how mishandling of IPOB agitation has degenerated to where Monday is a day of losing money. People who initially or ad initio set out to fight for Southeast is now injuring Southeast social-wise, political-wise, economic-wise. And I told you bluntly, the reason is because this matter was not nipped at the board. What does it mean to nip it at the board? When these young men started this agitation, you should have listened to them. By the time you listen to them, sound them out, you discover that, like the Elisha in the Bible, who was asking God to take his life because he's tired, whereas he should have said, I am hungry, I don't know how to feed the next time. So, like young people there, they said they want to separate. And the people you have interviewed in the past told you that inclusion means the Southeasterner must be a president. As far as I'm concerned, presidency or any other political appointment means nothing to the trader from the Southeast. What he wants is enabling environment to flourish in his business. Uninhibited operational structure that gives him the space to fly. And if you do this, he will hardly remember that he has not been a president ad initio. But those who sees it as the way Nigeria is structured presently, is when you are president that your people enjoy every other right that's supposed to be yours. Look at Buhari. He came in. The Fulanis were everywhere, freedom everywhere. And now, look at President Tinubu doing the same line.
Is he towing the same line?
How do you mean when you say, he's towing the same line?
Excuse me, please. The truth is this. When you go down to understand the way this country is skewed, it is difficult for any other tribal person to repose so much confidence in those that are close to him unless they are members of his tribe. This is wrong, but it's already a tradition. So the new face of Nigeria we are looking for should be the one that does not look at your face, but look at your right as a citizen of this country, one, and then go further to understand that this is the content of this citizen, and he will fit in this round peg or in this square peg, as it were. Now, a situation where anyone refuses to understand why is Southeast always agitating
Okay,
is the reason why
let's
we are
hold
here.
it. Let's hold it in that question.
Yeah.
Why is Southeast always agitating? As we take this call. Hello, good morning. Good morning. I'm sure I can recognize that voice. Collins calling us from Otupo. Go ahead.
Well, please, I want to. There is a next prize line. You people just read this morning. Hello?
Go ahead. We can hear you.
There is a municipal line you people just read this morning concerning the. I know it's not part of the discussion now. I'll make a comment concerning this particular one, concerning the school fees rising of the thing. I don't know actually what any government that comes, what exactly they are looking for. If they want to destroy the nation, very good and fine. Everybody, we are ready. I made a comment in Facebook this morning. I say, if you say the truth, you will die. If you do not say the truth, you will die. And each and every day that is breaking, people are dying. Now, if you go to the northeast now, we have been hearing and we have been seeing the way the Boko Haram, the kidnappers, and every one of all those things they have been manipulating, doing so many things, destroying, killing people around the area. Now, what is the solution to that? One, there was a time they were like, is it, I have forgotten his name, whether it's I've forgotten his name, that used to communicate with the terrorists and the federal government then. One Hausa man, I've forgotten his name. When they happen to her, you see, they doesn't want Western education.
Are you speaking
and
of
if you
Sheikh
look
Kumi?
at what this government is bringing now, it happens that this school fees is increased and students could not go further and everybody come and sit at home. What do they want us to think of? What are their aim? Now go to the southeast. They say they sit at home now. They didn't take it to any other place. They are doing it within their jurisdiction. And they are taking tablet now because of another person's headache. And they have their own agitation. Go to them, tell them what is their problem. Each time when they ask this Boko Haram, they say they don't want Western education. That means they don't want education at all. But these people is because of the way they are being marginalized. Come down to my state in Benue State. As I'm talking to you now, I'm close to 40-something years now. And since the creation of Benue State, nobody, no Idoma person, coming from Zosi has ever been a governor. We have our own way of doing things. And we are also having it in our mind. The time will come, we are not going to be party to any election in Benue State again. We leave it for the Zone A and the Zone B. Let them go ahead, be the governor, be everything, and rule themselves and forget about the Zone C, which is already on ground. So, if you look at this IPOB of a thing, they didn't go outside to do anything. They are doing within their jurisdiction because they have an agitation whereby the government do not even want to know because they know they have offended them.
All right.
All these government and look at our federal road, there is no road anywhere.
All right.
No security, no infrastructure. No, now they are joining education now. So what do they want us to do?
Thank you so much, Collins, calling us from Otupo, Benue State, for that contribution. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Good morning. My name is Paul. Good morning. My name is Paul. I'm calling from Ebonyi State.
All right,
Good morning,
Paul from
Paul.
Ebonyi State. Let's hear from you. What's happening in Ebonyi State this morning?
Well, I want to let you know that this sit at home in the southeast is caused by parochial rulers hosted by the federal government. What am I talking about? You discover that anybody that is working for the Southeasterners are not always allowed to rule the people of the Southeast. And now, the IPOB came up under the leadership of Nnamdi Kanu. And he's the only person that has not betrayed himself. Many have tried. Look at it, immediately after the war, they gave us 3 hours. Reconstruction, what, I don't know what they call it. Till today, what is happening in the Southeast? What is happening is that whatever will annoy the Southeast, the federal government will take delight in it. Just like my friend just dropped now and said that the federal government asked Boko Haram what is their problem. They said they don't want Western education. Have they stopped to ask the Southeasterners what do they want? Since you don't want us to belong to Nigeria, what is the problem? You are talking about marrying a girl whom you don't like. And that girl, you are saying you don't want this girl, but you want to attach yourself to the girl. On a very serious note, there is no other group in this country that loves the entire country as the Igbo people. On a very serious note, we are the people that build houses in other places. When you go to the north, you will see only Igbo people's houses. When you come to the southeast here, can you tell me of any building by the Hausa man or the Fulani man? None. They're only here to destroy our crops. And they don't want us to... Now, they know the reason why people are agitating. Why can't they obey a competent court of jurisdiction?
All right.
They are executed by the federal government itself.
All right.
Now, why are they still holding Nnamdi Kanu? It is only Nnamdi Kanu that can come out and say, let this thing stop, and it will stop.
All right. Thank you so much.
Truth about it all. Why are they are the federal government that own the court. Why are they disobeying court? And they want people to obey them. The Southeasterners are just there. They are just there to cut away money and examine the governors. And the Senate. Only one person.
Thank you so much, Paul from Ebonyi State. We'll have to let you go.
And if should people speak like Abaribe, I think things will be better. And
We're so sorry, we have to let you go. 1 minute to every caller. All right, there's an impression I'd like to clear out. It's actually wrong to say that a particular state or region or ethnic group is the cause of destruction of lives and properties. All right, so before we continue, and like the callers have asked, said, you ask particular people, what do you want? Boko Haram, what do you want? They said no to Western education. Have you asked the Southeasterners? And then he also stated that when Nnamdi Kanu comes and then says this should stop, it will definitely stop. But how much would that even do? Because I'm sure, I know he has said this time and time and again. And then if you have to look at, judging from the past, where all of this started, right from after the Civil War, where you had Chukwu Emeka Ojukwu, God bless his soul, with all that, the policies and how it was planned, this Biafra agitation and all, are they still even working in line with that policy?
I have told people who care to listen that Odumegwu Ojukwu, who led the war, may not probably be a secessionist in the real sense of it. He probably is a more nationalist than those who claim to be nationalists. But when what is coming against you appear to be stronger and bigger than you, you can make irrational decision that probably afterward you wish it was not made. I had always told people that if we have a responsive government, that war we talked about, we have much talked about, which has not been addressed up till now, is avoidable. It was totally an avoidable war, but it appears suppressive system of governance did not allow the federal government-led officers then to have reason to do everything. But the war has come and gone. For goodness sake, 50 to 60 years afterward, can any Nigerian sit down and tell and ask himself this question? Have we as a nation addressed issues arising from that war so that it cannot happen again? The answer is no. No government has called for aggrieved people to come together, do a reconciliation, and let us start afresh. No.
And you're not also only talking about the Southeasterners here.
Not just Southeasterners. It is a national thing. And it remains a national thing. So it appears that some people profit from that disadvantaged position that war has caused to the Southeast, and therefore hype it, create crisis, and allow the Southeast to kill themselves. Look at what Nnamdi Kanu did, and it prospered under Buhari. Why didn't it prosper under Obasanjo or Jonathan? Because, like you rightly pointed out earlier in our conversation, we have been ministers, we have been this and that, including Minister of Defense, which was a no-go area. So what happened? Obasanjo was smart. He knew that the Southeast voted for him and he needed them. So what can he do to keep them? He was doing those things. Here comes Jonathan again. He did as much. And we are saying, if others have continued that way, probably if you raise the agitation for Biafra in Southeast, your Umunna will rise up against you. They will be the one to strike you. But when what you are marshalling out as your grievances are real, nobody dare say shut up.
But then you have some people who will say that most times the Southeasterners, they're always united to be divided. They are all yes members in the morning, but in the evening they go back to say to your tent, O Israel.
No, please respect, regard, appreciate the republicanism that is the lot of the Igbos, the Southeasterners.
Okay, I'd like to come in here now. If we look at the numbers that Annabel read out here now, about 103 Mondays, I think.
105
Mondays lost in 2 years, and about how many?
7.6 trillion
7.6 trillion naira lost in the process. Now, in the midst of all of this, why have they confined? Why has this agitation been confined to the Southeast? This is something you are fighting to liberate. This is something you are fighting for it to see the light of the day. But you keep, but then your approach is suppressing.
If you ask me, who will I ask? Because I am not agitating. I know many others that are well-meaning Igbos are not agitating. They have agitated enough. They are seeing opportunities to align with the nation. Come to think of it, who actually are the makers of modern Nigeria, as it were? Go to any part of this country, you see the Igbo man there. Is that the attitude of those that want to secede? No. Young men took the issue up and nobody stopped them. And it has gone to a height that they can't manage it right. They can't come to Abuja to tell Abuja, we want to secede. Okay. They raised their grievances in the Southeast alone. So that's the irony of the whole thing. The thing has gone into the wrong hands.
But then at this point now, just before we go over to our next story, do you think there's anything Nnamdi Kanu can do from where he is,
or even
at
if he's
the
released?
moment, even if he's no?
Because some people say that if he's released,
yeah, some people have said if he's released, but the body language of the government has not pointed to the fact that there will be a release anytime soon. Do you think there's anything he can do from where, or probably a statement, an order from where he is now, to douse the tension right now, and briefly talk about the role of Simon Ekpa in this whole situation?
First of all, the release of Nnamdi Kanu came not as the reason why agitation came. It came as a part of a whole lot of campaign that was ongoing before he was incarcerated. A campaign that started before a government that never called them for dialogue. Now, I see the release of Nnamdi Kanu as necessary, but not going to end everything overnight without this dialogue. Come on, this is democracy. And if it is a government of the people, by the people, for the people. So bring the people, let's talk it over. If they are wrong, let them be convicted for being wrong. But right. I do know Sonny Igboho came up with his own. People are not happy with the way things are structured in this country. Those that are happy about it are those that are taking advantage of it. Of the situation. It started with NSAS. They thought it has ended. Obedient movement and Papasia in the last election was a manifestation of discontent with the ruling government of APC, just as the same way they protested against PDP in 2015. In all these things, we need to sit down and begin to ask, how can we address all these things? Somebody was telling me the other day, Southeast, they want to finish themselves. And this guy is from Benue State. So many Nigerians just see the Southeast one as an exemption. The person from Niger State want to suggest to the Southeasterners how to address their problem. And he is living with one. He will leave his own and talk about the Southeast as if it is an exemption. All right. You see it everywhere. The graphics are all over.
All right. Because you mentioned NSAS, we'll definitely come back to that one. But if you can help us in 1 minute, because I'll go back to the question I asked you, where some people believe that that most Southeasterners are always united to be divided. And then I am asking, for those who are calling for secession, if we decide to have if they decide, okay, no, you're going to have the Biafra state or just have your state, who exactly is going to be president over it? Because if you recall all that happened during the Ebubago, you have they came together, set up the outfit, but then you have some people saying that no, I'm going to chair it, it's going to be shared from this state or it's going to be shared from that state. And then all of a sudden, it went with the wind.
First of all, I am Obadiah Mbila, bona fide son of Igbo man from Akano, Hofia in Abia State. My uncles fought the war. I fought the war as a 7-year-old boy, fetching water for Biafran soldiers, fetching firewood for them. At that tender age, I saw the hunger. I saw Kwashoko destroying the life of my siblings and younger ones. I saw starvation. I saw open air killing. I saw celebration of killing as if it is a normal thing. I saw human beings body littered all over. I've been through that, and I was told that at that level of agitation we could not succeed because we were not prepared for the war. And it is always not the best option to go to a war you are
Unprepared.
not prepared for. Pay the cost, but don't go to the war. Now, I know from the heart of my heart that Igbos are not really the type that can be confined into a place called Biafra.
All right. Let's go to our next question, our next topic then, a headline rather. Hashtag EndSARS protest. Lagos confirms mass burial for 103 victims. Says no victim from Lekki Tollgate. And we're asking, where are these victims from? If we recall, during that EndSARS protest, they said from the Lagos, from the military, that no one was killed. They confirmed that nobody was killed in Lagos. No, there was no massacre. So where is 103 people coming from? Over 61 million naira earmarked for mass burial, which will be contracted to some people. And then we're just asking, you say let the poor breathe, but yet you have this amount of money being earmarked for mass burial. And yet you have relative at that time, because I recall they said that nobody has come to claim anybody at that time, no relative. So if you said nobody has come to claim it, that means nobody died. So how come all of a sudden, after 3 years, 103 people are going to be buried with over 61 million naira? And according to the calculations that they did, 500,000 naira or over to bury one person. Let's get your thoughts.
Well, I know that government is right even when they are wrong. The dead bodies has to be buried, whether they are from EndSARS victims or, as we all know, there are times when you have unclaimed bodies, and when it overstays in the morgue, it not only occupies space for the receipt of new ones, it also constitutes a nuisance. It does not pay anyone.
All right, let's quickly take this call before you go ahead. Hello, good morning. Okay. Please, if you have to call us, just stay somewhere that it's not noisy so we can take your call. Go ahead, please.
So, that's one aspect. The dead body has to be buried, whether they are EndSARS victims or not. But if we now know that they are EndSARS victims, even though government had denied at the initial that there were no such thing, what are we going to do? Will it raise these people again? Is Nigeria unaware of the fact that the APC government had always been very good in using propaganda to douse people's agitation? So, to me, going into the EndSARS thing is like, I'm not thinking it will do us any good. The other question is, how would a government, a responsible government, that has agencies that should handle burial with minimal cost, spend such a huge sum of money to bury? And contract it out. I've not really gone into the response of the state government. If they have, I've not read about that. But I know that if they're citing the problem of land for the burial as an issue. There used to be state cemetery. So if they don't have any, why don't they spend this huge sum of money and build one with it, so that in the future it will accommodate more bodies, as it were. So that amount, to me, I have not found any ground to justify it.
But then, if they have said Lagos plans burial for 103 bodies, and these bodies, they are not from the NSAS. They are not from the Lekki. They are not from the Lekki tollgate shootings. I think Nigerians deserve some explanation. I think Nigeria deserves accountability. Where these bodies are coming from.
Yeah, that's why I said that accountability is the sole responsibility of the state government. And so far, if they have not done that, why should I begin to comment on things I speculate that they should do or say when they have not said it? Until they respond, we will not be well informed to analyze and comment appropriately. So, Lagos state government, we wait on you. Tell us whose body it is, if it is not NSAS. Otherwise, we who are on the other side would conclude that it is NSAS victims.
All right, let's take our last headline, if we can. Vanguard newspaper. I'm going to sum up 3 headlines together, and I would like you to quickly take them in one breath, if you can, just in 2 minutes. Tinubu hugs deadline, replaces 4 names on ministerial list. Choice of APC chairman creates ripples in APC as president torn between Ganduje and Al-Mokara. That's one on the side. And also, still on APC crisis, says Adamu's greatest sin, and that's in quote, was trying to impose Lawan as presidential candidate, coming from the vice chair. That's 2. And then the last one is school fees increase. Don't snuff life out of us. Parents beg Tinubu. Seen headlines that says from Unity schools, you have some schools from 19,000 naira as tuition fees have surged to as much as 100,000 naira. Let's get your thoughts on these 3 headlines.
Well, we are in for a very hard and troubling time, and I think the alien Nigerians embrace that, the better for them, because if we are relying on government to begin to offer explanation for this, then we are not ready. We've not braced up for the challenge ahead. There is a challenge, and it's...
So are you saying that Nigerians just move on? Like Francis once stated that Nigerians are not breathing well, they are not fine. So I asked, we are resilient people, we are always survivors. So it has happened, so just move on.
This particular one is not about enduring forever. It is about let this suffering bring us together once again, just like the NSAS brought people together. The obedient group and Kwasea were brought together, and so on and so forth. They tried to change government during this 2023 election because it was their own practical way and right way to express dissatisfaction. It didn't work, or it has not worked so far. If it can help the government to sit up, to begin to be people-friendly, to begin to respond to people's need, to begin to think of the consequences of every action of government, every policy of government on the people, then, and at the end of the day, they succeeded in managing the variables. Oh, thank God for the presidency of Tinubu. But if they cannot, let them know that the next 4 years is also coming.
All right, before you go ahead, I had 2 questions, but before you take the next one, let's quickly take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Yeah, this is Mr. Chika from Benin City.
All right, Chika from Benin City. Go ahead. You have 1 minute, please.
All right, yeah, I had a question that was, asked by the young man there, concerning how actually does that man here, want the Igbos to have a presidency at the plateau of gold. When a kind of Yoruba, they do have a synergy with the North in order to produce a presidency. I hope I'm right. So
What to me is unacceptable to me. Why? Because a system that is structured in a way that only one region is favored can never work. Do you understand? A system that, for instance, if the Easterners need to thrive in the system, they have to, either hobnob or form an alliance with the North in order to succeed, thereby offending the West. Or for the West to succeed, they have to now hobnob with the North and somehow offend the East. To me, that system is dramatically opposed to each other, and it can never work. Such a system, you can agree with me, is dramatically opposed to each other. A system that I have to offend one side in order to succeed. Do you understand? If Nigeria is actually, Federal Republic as it were, because it's written on our currency, Federal Republic of Nigeria, if you are practicing true federalism, is it supposed to be so?
All right. Thank you so much, Ben, that called us.
Don't you see that the system is not workable? And there is no way. And there's a thing that says it's only a fool that will be doing one thing and be having the same result, and it continues. Right. From independence till now, we are having the same problem.
All right. Thank you so much for that contribution.
We start our brothers as betrayers, which they are not, because of the system of ground that is not workable.
All right. We have to let you go.
I don't want anybody to be condemning the Southeast.
We are so sorry. We have to let you go. I said 1 minute
Annabel,
to every caller.
I'd just like to shed some light on my question. The Nigerian Constitution clearly states, for you to emerge as the president, you have to score 25% in 2/3 of the states, including the
and FCT.
Okay, and the FCT.
And means including.
Yeah, okay. and the FCT, which is still being contested in the court at the tribunal right now. So I definitely putting that in the picture. I think there must be a form of bridge building across all the regions. I never said that the Europe there's a form of a hobnobbing between the southwest and the north. That was never my intention. I was never going to incite any statement. And if you felt any bit of an offense on that, I take responsibility.
Yeah.
All right, so let's, in 1 minute, help us talk about that APC crisis, where they said Adamu's sin, in quote, was because he was trying to shove the former Senate President Ahmed Lawan down the throats of people to become the president.
Alhaji Adamu is actually not a founding member of APC. He joined APC and also became an arrowhead of a section of APC that has been there from the foundation. He became the face of the invisible ones behind, and when after they succeeded, after they have succeeded in pushing him to emerge as the national chairman. And of course, as you know, the people that were pushing him had an agenda. And therefore, you don't expect him to begin to do the agenda of the one that didn't bring him to that seat.
All right. Thank you so much. Let's leave it at that. It's been a wonderful time. It's always a pleasure having this discussion with you.
Thank you so very much always for having me.
All right, so from there we'll move straight to social media trends, and the first trending story on social media is a particular video that was posted by Davido and on his Twitter handle, and it received so many reactions and backlash. And here the first one we'll take is from Seriki Sultan, who said, "Breaking news to all Muslims around the 19 northern Nigeria states. We ban selling, sharing, listening to all Davido songs, as we ban all radio stations from playing it in the north, and let this message circulate to all northern states." And then another person came out to say, "Breaking news, Kano and Sokoto state has banned people from listening to Davido's music in public." And someone replied saying, "Oh, more Davido's career is officially over." But then we saw that particular tweet again is coming to say that Davido has taken down that song. Let's see that song so that you can understand if it has any disrespect like it was being posited. All right, we're sorry we could not take that video, but I'm sure we'll find a way to put it up tomorrow so that we can have better understanding of that, make sense of that post. All right, we'll move straight to our next one, and this one is still from the northern part of the country. It says, Kano Hisbar arrest 2 young men over alleged same-sex marriage. And I'm wondering, it's okay to have your sexual orientation, but what are you doing in Kano? What are you looking for in a Sharia state?
In a Sharia state.
Okay, let's just leave it at that. And this there's another picture, another post that says that the policeman who was harassed by Sheun Kuti has been promoted. So we saw that one, and in my mind, I'm like, that's hearty congratulations. The policeman actually did a good job maintaining his cool. But there are some other policemen that I've seen. There's this particular policeman that I always see when I go home in Gwarimpa, especially at that express around where you have Bakangizo. There's this particular man. He will never ever stop any vehicle. He's always smiling. And there's another one again I know in Wuse, around that area. He's always dancing. He's ready to do his job. So why are we not making this thing spread? Why does it look like it's just a one-sided thing? Because it was brought to the limelight by Sheun Kuti. Is that the reason? And we just begin to wonder. All right, let's leave it at that as we move straight to other stories. And this one is still on this NSAS that we talked about. Olamilekon says they denied the shooting at Lekki. They claimed nobody was killed. Now they are giving approval of mass burial of 103 NSAS victims. Oh my God. Babajide Sanwo-Olu and APC are, I'm not going to use the word. All right, so we'll move to other stories, and here you have just in after several denials, Sanwo-Olu plans mass burial for 103 protesters massacred during NSAS, and you have the letter of no directions stating mass burial for 103 and the year of 2020 in NSAS victims. Also, you have the Lagos State government who has come out to issue a rebuttal saying that it has nothing to do with the Lekki killings and all of that. But I saw a post coming from Showore who was saying that he had so many things to say, so let's not go into that because our time is far spent. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a wonderful time. I'm sorry I will still keep seeing your calls, but we cannot take them anymore as our time is far spent. We'll take your calls again tomorrow. And like I always say, drink water, mind your own business, and stay safe. My name is Annabel Orji.
And I am Francis Adeniyi. Have a beautiful day ahead.